Welcome to Two Girls, One Pod. I'm Yvie Jones. I'm recording on Wurundjeri land. Filling in on the hot seat this week, we have a very special guest, someone that's very warm, very close to my heart because she's a very good friend of mine, someone that I've known for, well, like about 10 years, coming on 10 years now. Her name is Isabelle Gaspar. Does anyone know who that is? No, you would know her better as Isabelle Silbery from the Silberys of Gogglebox. Welcome.
Thanks, babe. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so glad that you are here. You were one of the first people that I thought of, when the producer was like, who do you want to fill in the seat for Angie and everything? And I was like, I'm making a list. And you were right on there because I know that we can just chat and chat and chat. Isabelle and I have lunches together and we gossip a lot, but we talk about life, don't we? And we often talk about things that we could solve in the world, which is really important because I, as you know, believe women should rule the world.
Yep.
And these kind of conversations are the ones that are going on throughout the world where if only they would drop a mic in and go, wow, these are really great solutions, ladies, across the world, not just you and I. Let's implement these into the world because I think the world would be a better place. But, of course, that's never going to happen, maybe.
And after a few bottles of wine, we can really solve the world.
Oh, my God. We've remade it.
Yeah.
Now, you were a Gaspar. That's your maiden name.
It is.
Growing up. It's a French name. Your dad is French.
Yeah.
So you can speak fluent French.
I can.
Which is so impressive.
I don't think it is impressive.
No, well, you wouldn't because you can, but everyone that can't does. So take it.
Okay.
And then you were married to a man called Mr. Silbery.
Yes.
And that's when you and your mum and your grandmother took on Gogglebox, right?
That's right, yep.
So you weren't...
I was married.
They actually weren't Silberys.
No.
Your mum and your grandmother decided... Well, how did that happen? You decided?
So they're both Milligans. Mum kept her maiden name. And she was still working in adolescent psychiatry. So she was very wary of her privacy and stuff like that. So she said, let's take Isabelle's name for the show.
Yep.
Because I was still married at the time, so it made sense.
Yeah. But they were never Silberys.
No.
They were Milligans.
Yeah.
Which is a great name, but completely understand you don't want to, just in case, and you don't know what's going to happen from the show. Everyone knows who they are now anyway, but then you've just gotten remarried. Yeah. Now you're Isabelle Richards.
Yes, I am.
Tell me you don't have to say because you're married, that Richards, which one do you prefer?
Oh, Richards, for sure.
It's a good name, isn't it?
I'm all for just take the name if it sounds good.
Yes.
If it doesn't sound good, don't take it.
Exactly.
Well, I got rid of Gaspard very quickly just because I was teased at school.
Yeah.
Like Gaspar,
of course.
Isabelle Gassy, and it's just scarred me. So I got rid of it as soon as I could. Not a very feminist thing to do, but...
No, I know, but it is. A feminist does whatever they want.
Well, that's true. So I had a choice and I chose a nicer sounding name.
I chose my own name. After
that's right. You did too.
I was paid out at school for my real name, my birth name, and I hated it. But also it was my grandmother's name. The entire thing was Yvette Shedledsky, and that was always her. It was never me. And so Yvie Jones just is so much more me. And once I adopted it as pretty much out of school, I was like, oh, this is it. And it worked.
Yeah.
People resonated with it. Things started changing for me. It's amazing what a name can do.
Oh, yeah.
My mum was really big into numerology and also where your numbers are over your letters. So she was like, this is a really good name for you. Every psychic I've ever seen has said it. You've got a great name. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, is that your...
No,
and I'm like, no, I chose... They're like, good, you should. I actually believe because a lot of people want to change their names and they can't because when you're born, you don't know how to speak. So I truly believe that at 18, you should then, as a whole, have to say, yes, I'll keep it.
Yeah.
Or no,
Consent,
I'd really like to make another...
Yeah, it's a real thing.
It's the same as jobs. I think after 2 years, everyone has to reevaluate for themselves.
Yeah.
do I want to stay in this job? No. Then everyone changes.
Yes.
So there's no
Do I
job.
want to stay in this name?
Yes.
No, it doesn't fit. It doesn't suit
It's
me.
not
I
for
don't
me.
like it.
Yes.
I didn't choose this.
Yeah, because, people move to other countries to change their names because they know that people aren't going to say their name properly, which is all awful because that's also people who really love their name and have to change but may not want to. So it would be lovely to have that. Yeah. But imagine being given it as a 5-year-old, because when I was 5, I wanted to be called Crystal. What did you want to be called?
Olivia.
I was Sylvia or Crystal.
I was Olivia. I was obsessed.
Was it because of Olivia Newton-John?
I don't know. I just
probably
loved it. Or,
a beautiful name.
Yeah, Dolly, because Dolly Parton.
Yeah, you were just into singers.
Shirley Temple. Then I moved on to Mariah, obviously.
Of course.
In my teens.
Are we still just doing names of women that you loved who sang? Both.
They were my idols.
Wow, yeah. I just watched the Wham. Have you seen the Wham documentary? No. You must watch it. It's on Netflix. It is just an eye-opening, these 2 young boys who met at 12 in high school and, dreamed of big things and just went for it. And it's such a great documentary. Okay. I highly recommend everyone to watch it.
Wham.
Okay, 2 things about the Wham documentary.
Yeah.
Number 1 is that I didn't like Wham. I grew up during Wham, so I was born in the early 70s. So Wham came out in 83 and I was in year 5. Mm-hmm. So it was, they were at the height when I was really, and I never got it because I was Whitney Houston. I was all about the big voices, and you are a big vocalist as well.
Yeah.
Because you're a very good singer.
Oh, we've had some beautiful nights singing together, haven't we? We've always said that we'll go and do an open mic somewhere and sing together.
You know what? We're saying it right here, right now.
Someone needs to hold us accountable because we never do it.
Look at the microphone. I mean, look at the camera. I'm looking at the camera. Make a pact right now. Okay. We're going to do it.
We will sing somewhere someday
because
together.
It's so nice when I sing with you. You have a really high register. I actually have a high register as well, but you can harmonise, and it's a very hard thing to do to find someone to just riff with that can just go into a harmony with you.
Yeah.
But we definitely have to do it. I was actually thinking last night when I thought I've got you on tomorrow, I was like, oh God, I wish I didn't have such a croaky voice. I'd just bust out a tune and we could just start singing. But
we could turn this whole podcast into a song.
Yes, why not? But I reckon we should do an open mic one night, or just something, or even join a choir or something where we have to, go. This is all before December because something is happening in December that we're going to talk about in a minute. But we should, or just have our own. Why don't we just have our own choir?
Yeah.
I think this is a great idea.
So do I.
I miss singing so much.
So do I.
That's
when
why
I'm
we
in
have
the
to
car,
do it.
I do all of my singing, and when I get to my destination, I'm like, God, I feel good.
Yes.
It really does something to me.
It does. And in all ways, physical and emotional and spiritual, singing is such a beautiful thing to do.
It must release endorphins or something positive.
And you know what? A lot of people have said to me when they hear my voice, you're such a good singer.
You are.
You've really wasted, and I'm like.
I feel that about you too.
I feel that about you as well. Like, do you get that from people that know how good you can sing? Do you have
every
that?
time I watch The Masked Singer, I am convinced it is you every time. And I'm like, you haven't told me, but I know it's you. And you're like, it's definitely not me. I'm like, it is you.
Every season I get text messages from you that say, I know it's you. I know it's you. Or I'll get a video from you. Or, I'm just waiting. Here we go. I will get a text message just before the reveal. I know this is you. Last season it was Jimmy Barnes's daughter.
Yeah, but there was another season where I thought it was you, and it was the girl that sings now.
Well, when I used to sing professionally, I used to sing a lot of Anastasia stuff because it was so similar to my voice. Mahalia Barnes was the other one that you thought was me because of such similar vocals.
Similar.
Oh, my God. Well, you know what?
They're missing out. If they have not asked you by now, seriously.
They have asked me. They asked me the very first season and I said yes.
Yeah.
And then nothing happened and I text the head, Stephen Tate, if you're listening. And I was like, so I guess I'm not on because it's starting. And he was like,
oh, whoops.
Yeah, no, I rang him. No, he rang me. And I was like, oh, by the way, I guess I'm not you went with someone else. He goes, we did. You will be very happy with who we went with. That was kind of similar to you. And I watched the whole season and the only person that I can imagine was similar to me was Kate Sobrano, was on that season.
Yes,
so I don't know whether they were talking physicality, but our voices are very different. But he said to me, no, we've got our sights on you for dancing.
Oh,
so get your dance shoes on. And I went, no, I'm not doing that, but I will do the next season of Masked Singer. And I never heard from him again.
Oh, no. You are a great dancer. You got legs for dancing.
Yeah, I've got the legs, but I don't have the knees.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's hard.
we'll see.
It's hard on your joints.
I reckon when I'm about 60, I'll do Dancing with the Stars and they will give me all the leeway for an old woman.
Yep.
And they'll let me go first.
Yeah.
And I'll have that one episode of me dancing like as Weezer said in Steel Magnolias, she looks like she's a couple of pigs in a blanket on the dance floor. No, I just did it in a New York accent and that is a Southern movie, isn't it?
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's okay.
you know
We'll
what I mean.
forgive you.
The other thing I was going to say about the Wham documentary is George, his real name is Yorios.
No, Jorge?
It was Yorius or
okay.
something. But Andrew called him Yog. Still to this day calls him Yog because he mispronounced it. The teacher introduced him to the class as Yorgios. And he's calling him Yog ever since.
Yog.
Always. So that was always his name. And then he became George Michael. And it was never, he had to become George Michael.
Yeah.
Because he never believed that he was extraordinary.
Oh, wow.
Until he, believed it, and then he was. And it's a great documentary to see that. It's just Wham, so I'm really now have to go and watch the George Michael documentary, which apparently is, because, before he died, I remember seeing a couple of videos of him and he was so angry. And my friends who are obsessed with him were like, oh, he was up by that industry. Like he was angry. And I was like, the more I see of these documentaries like the Lewis Capaldi.
I know. That was so hard to watch that one.
We're starting to see the behind the scenes of what they do to these young artists who are creatives. They're not business. They're not the normal 9-to-5 brains that, people go. The pressure. And George would have been exactly that as well. So please, can you watch it and let me know what you think? And everyone listening, if you haven't watched it, please watch it and DM me and tell me what you think. Now, Gogglebox.
It's back.
It's back. When does it start again?
A couple of weeks.
Go. Okay, so I'd like to first say congratulations on your 6th Logie.
Thanks.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
You would have more. But there was a couple of Logies for a while. So you would have had, I reckon you'd have 8 by now.
I know, jibbed.
Because you've never not won.
I know. It's so weird. Every time we're up for it, I'm like, no, there's, way better TV shows. And then we get it again. And I'm like, oh.
Well, because people love it. I was just out in the reception talking to 2 women about Gogglebox. Everyone I see that knows who I am or recognises me, always, it's only ever Gogglebox. It is, I reckon maybe 1% people will say to me, oh, you were on The Jungle. Oh, you were on something else. Or you were on... No, it's always Gogglebox. Oh, and then second question, do you miss it? And my answer is yes.
Do you?
Absolutely.
What do you miss about it?
Well, I don't miss the intrusion of people coming in my house and putting leads everywhere and then breaking something every week. But that was okay because you could always get it replaced.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, that was from King Furniture. It was really from Fantastic Furniture. But no, I miss... You know what I miss about it is watching it back and not just watching us, watching all of us be so similar. And because it's such a family. What I want to talk about with you that I think that I know our audience is going to absolutely love. And I know you are still contracted to this show, so there's a lot that you can't talk about. But that's actually what I want to talk about. I want to talk about when we first started. Like, I did the first season, you came in the second season.
Yep.
And we were told we were not allowed to be in contact with each other.
I've never been so scared in my life.
Me neither. Because we all had never done... well, you had done Rock Wiz. You used to be a producer.
Yeah, but I had never been on TV.
No. So we, as talent, we didn't know what we were up for as far as suing liability.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if we contacted each other, number one, we all must have thought the same thing. Number one, are you going to rat me out? Because I don't know who you really are.
We didn't know each other at all.
Number two, is someone going to find out and rat us both out?
Yeah, someone going to dip a job.
Yeah, who is it going to be? And it was so funny because Angie and I had each other. Obviously, each household has each other to talk to only. But it was you and us, me and Angie. We were the first to break.
Yeah, we did.
So it was season 3.
How did we do it? Was it on Instagram?
It was on Instagram. I can still remember it. We followed each other.
Oh, naughty.
I started following everyone. And then we just said to you, if you're ever in Sydney, let us know. And you said, I'm in Sydney this weekend. And oops, we'll just run into you. Yeah. Where do you want us to be? Yeah. Well, and I said, we went to the Acre. We went to this great place in Camperdown.
I remember.
And we sat on the ground with your friend Vanessa, the 4 of us just drinking wine and talking and talking and talking. And like, it was like we'd known each other forever.
Yeah.
So it was funny because as far as the whole family world goes of Gogglebox, I feel like because we were the first to make contact with each other, that it was like we've known each other longer than anyone else has known each other.
Yeah.
But then there's the Melbourne-Sydney factor.
Yes.
And now we've got Brisbane involved.
Yes.
So we've got it again. At the end of every season, there is it used to be just our EP taking each household out for a celebratory thank you
And we did
dinner.
that for a few years.
Did that for a few seasons. And then we started having get-togethers as groups, but it would only still be Sydney and Melbourne. They never made it.
No.
Everyone.
Guess what?
What?
We're doing everyone.
Yay!
It's only taken 18 seasons. But at the end of this season, we're flying up to Sydney and we're going to have a get-together organised by them.
That is so good. Finally.
Yes.
Finally.
I am so happy because I haven't met anyone else.
No. And it's different crew. Although I know a friend of mine who produced last season and she did Adam Simon as well as the Farts in Sydney. Maddie's
Sarah and Jad,
and she did it remotely. So there is a bit of difference. And through lockdown, you guys had it. How was it done that way?
Oh, it was remote. So, they came and set up everything. And then poor mum, she had to, be a producer and an audio person and everything.
I love that.
Well, no, she hated it. I mean, she's 70 years old. She has no idea what she's doing.
Yeah.
It's
like a new TV.
It just felt so disconnected, but we got through it. We did what we had to. I mean, lucky we were the only TV show that kept running through lockdown.
Yeah.
And I think everyone was really fighting for that because it got people through.
Yeah, it did.
But, it was very different. But now we've got a proper crew. It's all back.
Are you happy to have it back? And you don't have Emmy is what you're about to say.
That was what I was about to say.
So let's talk about that because it was only last season or the season before. It was only last season that was the first one without her, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, it was very weird for us.
So what's happened with Emmy?
So, she was living with Mum and we all got to a point as a family that she just wasn't safe by herself at home anymore.
Yep.
That was really what it came down to it. She was forgetting to take her meds and not eating properly. And, yes, we could have continued, but we thought we love her and the best thing for her is to have 24/7 care. Yep. So Mum had an operation. We popped her into care around the corner from our house and she just loved it. She loved it.
That's so good.
It's 5-star. We're talking wine with dinner. We're talking exercise classes, music, everything. She has made friends. She is more alive than I've seen her in years, to be honest.
That is so good to hear because, a lot of people listening have aging parents, and you never know if it's going to work for someone. But, you know, I think, though, there's unfortunately the privilege of having money. It makes a huge difference. It
does, yep.
She's obviously being cared for very, very well in a very, you know, but if I think my dad, who also has dementia, that he would, I think he'd do actually really well as well, but he's so adamant not to. Yeah. And he's still in that lucidity of making decisions that we can't just force him in.
Yeah.
You know, and so anyway.
I know, the forcing, I know. We're so lucky that she's that type of personality, though, that just goes with the flow. Yes. And she's so open and positive.
She's a popular person. She's got a great personality.
Yeah, she talks to
She
anyone.
likes people.
Yep.
So, and people love her.
Yep.
Do any of them know who she is?
No. They don't even know who
they are.
No, and you know what? She still remembers us.
Yeah, okay.
And, you know, we do talk about Gogglebox. She hasn't quite worked out, you know.
Yeah, because there's time off.
And, you know, I have to remind her that I'm pregnant all the time.
Yes.
But it's such a beautiful thing with dementia. You've got to look at the positives.
You do.
And the positives are that we get to relive beautiful moments over and over again.
Yes. Because they talk about the past so often.
Yeah.
Apparently that's Alzheimer's.
Oh,
so, and that's what I'm learning as well, because my dad lives in the past and he regresses to it as well, like how he behaved in the past.
Yeah.
And apparently that's an Alzheimer's. So, you know, the umbrella is the dementia and then you've got all the I guess branches underneath. That's an Alzheimer's symptom. So that is a beautiful. My grandmother died of dementia, and she was French, and she went back to, they say 27 in places like I think Norway. They have these villages. Have you seen these villages where they make them, and they go shopping every day, and they do whatever they did.
Yes,
because they all go back to 27. That's the age, apparently, around that age. So my grandmother at that age was out of the like she'd been in a labour camp, had 2 children by then, was kind of, you know, trying to make her way from Germany to France to Poland, not knowing where the hell they were going to go. But by that time, she had no English, but she had 6 languages. Oh my gosh. So because she already had the French, and in the labour camps, it was filled with others.
Yeah.
So she learned all the Slavic languages and then English finally when they got to Australia. But she was speaking to us only in French or Polish. And when my mum and I would, like, this was right towards the end, when we would go in, she would look at us. Oh, it's making me cry. She would look at us and go, who are you? And, oh, you're so beautiful. And she'd put her hand out and touch Mum and I and say, you're both so beautiful. Who are you? Like
it was the first time.
And it was so lovely because, you know, they can go either way. And obviously, Emmy doesn't have that aggression in her, which some of them, they may not, and then they end up having it. God help if she, like, let's pray forever that she doesn't. But it's so beautiful because they do regress into this and they tell you these amazing stories.
Oh, the stories. It's so good.
Her story is also in a book. I want to talk about your book. It's called
Out of the Box.
Which is great because you're on Gogglebox and you're out of the box, and you've written a book about being out of the box, but you're not out of the box, but it's kind of out of the box. But
also it's the secrets that come out of the box. It's telling all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not being in the box of life, because the 3 of you are very different women. I spoke about you this morning to a man in the park who I've always met his partner in the park with their 2 little chihuahuas, and I met his partner. He was like, it's funny that we've never, you know, how often do you, I say I come to this park every day.
So you know the dogs, but you don't know the owners, always.
Well, I knew one owner, the partner owner, but I hadn't seen this owner. So he was like, I come all the time. We must just miss each other. So we were talking about you and and the book and everything. He said, I really like those 3 women. They're just so progressive. And he said, Emmy, the stories she would tell on Gogglebox. I said, you got to go and read their book because her story, like, you know, it's all three of you, isn't it? Tell me about the premise of the book.
So the premise of the book is 3 generations, 3 stories, but also we talk about all different subjects that women go through, but from 3 sort of points of views from 3 generations.
Yeah.
So we don't all necessarily agree, but it is really fascinating to have gotten Emmy's story down. She's got such an amazing
And it was only a couple of years ago you wrote this book.
Yeah.
That was a really, really good
No, it was
time.
a year ago we published it. Yeah. I know. And she came on book tour with us and she was, you know, signing books.
In a way, though, because what dementia does, you could have written it now anyway because of the stories.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
okay, yeah. And I think it's great that you've got the different and you may not agree. But is there much agreeing in it?
Yeah, I think we're more alike than we realise, to be honest. And it does sort of, when you finish reading it, you really do see a pattern of transgenerational trauma. It really is a thing. Whether
and you 3 would really be able to show it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we've all been through very similar things in life. And we've dealt with it differently and we have different points of view, but we've also supported each other through those things.
Big time.
Big time. And that's what I think has brought us so close.
I love, you know, it's funny because I know the 3 of you and I've seen the way, I mean, we all have seen the way you speak to each other, but the love you have for each other, that's something I covered. Like, you know, I miss that with my mum because she was the only one that in my whole family that, you know, I spoke to like that. But I never, ever spoke to my mum about sex or, I mean, towards the end of my mum's life I did just because I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But she certainly never did. So there's I think a lot of learning for parents and mothers who watch the 3 of you or read the 3 of you and say, this is a pretty cool relationship you can have with your daughter. And or your granddaughter, your great-granddaughter, that works.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people actually come up to me and say, oh, you know, I'm a mother and my daughter is very young and I really want to be how your family are, you know, really open and just honest.
How does that make you feel?
Really good. Look, if I can do anything with Gogglebox or the fame or whatever, it's just to, influence people in a nice way.
And do good.
Yeah.
And you do good. You're a great writer as well. You wrote that book, but you also write a lot for
Mamma Mia, Kids Spot.
Mamma Mia, Kids Spot. You write beautiful articles, can I say? They're really thought-provoking and you really open up, and that's what I love about them so much. I read things, your articles, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that about you, which is really great, you know, because that's what I think a good writer does is even their own partner goes, oh, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
That's a great writer to me. Now, just going back to your book.
Yes.
The best thing about this is you've been offered a TV show. To make this book into a TV show. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I am so... As a Goggleboxer, I'm so excited because we love TV. Goggleboxers love TV. So this is a TV show that we're going to be able to watch. And tell me about how did that happen?
Yeah, so my background is production, so TV, but on the behind-the-scenes, you know, side of things. And I've always been really passionate about storytelling, hence why I decided to write the book. But, I got in contact with Aquarius Films and the ladies there are also on the same page.
I love Aquarius Films, just by the way. I love them. And they're women-led. Yeah. And that's why I love them.
Their whole vision and purpose is to tell women's stories.
What other shows do they do?
They do Love Me, and they made Lion with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, I love that.
But they're amazing women. So I got in contact with them and pitched this. I told them to read the book and they just loved it. And they really saw the same vision as me. And it was, you know, we don't have to stick to the actual stories. It is about women's stories of all ages. And it's just being, really honest and raw. And I am so excited to make this. Yeah.
I'm excited as well. And it was funny because I was watching an Australian story with Heather Mitchell. And she, at the end of it, was talking about her current projects, and they were in, she was in a writer's room. So there's the round table. You know what a writer's room looks like. And there's Isabelle sitting in the middle of it having a chat. And I'm like, whoa, hang on, something's happening. And I text you because then I spoke to a mutual friend and he gave me an insight of who will be starring. I just text you 3 stars' names. Never heard back from you.
Have you not known this about me?
I know. I did not expect to hear back from you. Or I thought I might get a wink or I don't know. But I didn't hear back. Didn't get offended because I never get offended. You're like me. People know. Sometimes we just don't reply to texts and whatever. Don't get offended.
No.
We just don't. It doesn't mean a thing.
I think I have a thing. I need to go and see someone about it. I just don't. I don't write back to texts.
Yeah, I can be a bit like that as well. Do you think we should see the same person?
Maybe.
Maybe we should text each other about it. Do you think if we text each other about it, we'll get over it?
We could break through.
Or do you think we'll just get to the point where we only text each other? And we're like, oh, I know what we can do. Why don't we text each other's texts back to the people that want to know? Yeah. We go, sorry, I'm a representative for Isabelle.
I can only text on behalf.
But this is what I think she'd say.
Oh God,
who knows? So I think the most exciting thing about that, the fact that this is going to become a TV show, is that I'm going to be in it. You've heard it here first, people. I'm not going to be a lead. No. I'm not going to be a lead. No, I know for a fact that writers pretty much have nothing to do with the casting process. So,
so Heather Mitchell was in the writers' room.
Yes,
she was amazing.
She is amazing. So she would be for
Mum.
Mum. So I heard Judith Lucy for Mum, and I heard Heather for Emmy, and Claudia for you.
Well, I'm 30.
Yeah.
I'm young 30s, early 30s in the series. So we need someone a bit younger for me.
Yeah, because Claudia is older than me.
Yeah, she's 50 something.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
So in a way, she could be your mum.
Yeah, she could be my mum. Yeah.
So, but who are you thinking for Emmy? Because I've got plenty of ideas.
What are your ideas?
Well, you know what? The one that I actually really thought of just died. Judy Farr. I'm going to show you her. So you'll know exactly who she is when you see her.
Oh, yeah.
So she would have been a perfect, and she's a great actress. Like, she can play funny, she can play straight. She's dead.
I was thinking Jackie Weaver.
Oh, yes. She would, and she's such a great actress. Yeah. Like, she can do it all. She would come back to Australia for that.
Oh, you'd think so.
Emmy is everything to Gogglebox followers. Watchers.
I think they really miss her.
I know they do. I spoke to a man this morning that said, it won't be the same. It wasn't the same. And I'm like, no, it's not.
It's never going to be the same.
But life is like that.
Yeah, well, that's right. As DMAC, the executive producer, said in his Logie speech, because, we're not allowed to go.
Don't get me started.
Don't get me started.
Don't get me started again.
And, people were just watching it going...
And the travel guides were there, of course.
Of course, and maths and everyone else. But...
Can I just ask you, when he was up there on the stage, I didn't see Wendy.
Yeah.
Is Wendy on TV as well?
Yes.
Who is this?
Selling houses.
Yeah, selling houses.
Yeah.
She's one of the producers?
Yes, she's
always
an executive.
Has been?
Always has been an executive, yeah. She's crossed over.
I swear I've met her and didn't know that.
Yeah, she's crossed over.
Wow, so she's not on TV anymore?
Yeah, she's on Selling Houses.
Is?
Yep.
What's her last name?
Wendy Moore. Do you want some more?
So weird. Like, I know the name, but I never put it together.
Yep.
And she always has been.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, so when DMAC was saying his speech and he was thanking the households and everything, and, he's saying it's all about families. We've been on air for 10 years. And I think he was sort of saying it's all from cradle to... Grave. People have been watching us have babies, pass away. We lost Di. And then Emmy's now not on the couch anymore. I'm pregnant, which makes the 3 women back on the couch, except one's just in my tummy.
Oh, my God. Yes. So we can say you're pregnant and you're having a girl.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Woo, another feminist in the world, people. Woo. 2 girls. No, 3 girls right now, 1 pod.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm growing a vagina.
Well, you're growing a vulva.
I know.
I've really got to start.
Calling
Can
it
you
for
do it as well?
Yeah.
Let's start using it because
I know.
I saw someone get called out on it and I'm like, this is starting.
Mum calls me out all the time.
Does she?
She says it's labia. No, it's vulva.
Vulva.
No, you're talking about your uterus.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, am I?
Yeah, well, and you know what? It's really important. And you're about to have a girl. Well, you've
Yeah.
already got a son, and it makes exactly the same similarities. Let's use the right vernacular for
Yes,
everything.
I agree.
It is a vulva, so
Yep.
let's start using it. Yeah, because everything starts to everyone gets cancelled, everyone gets called
Yeah.
out, and it really, to me, it's all about not the calling out, the reaction to the calling out. How do these people react to the calling out? And I saw someone get called out and they just ignored it, and I was like, I wouldn't have ignored it.
Yeah.
I would have said thank you. You're right.
Yeah.
And I've made a pledge right there to myself to start using the word vulva,
right.
but it's
Yeah.
everywhere. Like it is everywhere, and I notice it all the time. Vaginas, like women use it, men use it, everyone.
So what is a vagina then?
Is the hole
Yeah.
right that the blood comes from, that the baby comes from, that the
Okay.
penis goes into, that the
So that's the actual
that's
hole.
just that bit.
Yep.
And then the urethra is above that.
Yeah,
and
that's
that
where we wee from.
and
Yep.
around that is the labia,
Yep.
minora, and then majora.
That's it. I knew there were 2 M's.
Yes. And in between is the perineum.
Perineum, and then you got the anus.
And then the anus.
I'm learning all about this, Yvie. I'm going to see a physio
Yeah.
for down there.
Yeah, great.
So she's got the little
Yes.
thing that opens and shuts.
Yes, I was going to say you should get that. It
Yeah.
really helps.
And she's
Everyone I know
explained
that's
it
done
all
it
to me.
reckons it's a game changer.
It's a game changer. I'm doing my pelvic floor right now.
Me too. Me
We
too.
need to do it.
Oh my God, so do I. Do you know I've started taking incontinent tablets?
Oh, yes.
I call them Bermagui, but they're called Batmogi or something. I don't know, and I still don't know. But
And what do they do?
Well, actually, funnily enough, is they relax the bladder, which I thought would be the opposite because I feel like I have a too relaxed bladder.
Yeah.
But what it's happening is I have such a tight bladder because of incontinence that it squirts, not in a sexual way.
You're a squirter.
So yeah, not in that way. It's not coming out of the vagina; it's coming out of the urethra.
Ow.
So if I cough, if I laugh hard or anything, it's because it's trying to keep it in. It's making it come it'll
yeah.
push it out all of a sudden. So what it does is it relaxes. Drug relaxes it, so it doesn't just spurt.
Spurt out.
Yeah. So and it does work.
Wow. I
But
never knew
also
this.
they said we won't send you to physio yet. If you can start doing your Kegels
Yeah.
and everything, your pelvic floor. So I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it right now.
When do you do it? Because I'm finding it hard.
Brushing
to
your teeth
Oh, okay.
the entire time. So if you've got one of those electric toothbrushes,
Yeah.
they have the 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes a day. So I mean, twice. Who doesn't brush their teeth
Yeah.
twice a day? Not me. What? I don't sleep with anyone that's going to tell me my breath is bad. So when you sleep with someone in the same bed,
Yes.
doesn't it make you brush your teeth better?
Yeah. Well, it makes you your whole body
Everything
hygiene
better.
better. You have a shower before you get in. You
wash
You
things,
moisturise.
you moisturise,
Oh, when
you
I was
clip
single, I
things.
couldn't give up.
I
Didn't change my sheets for
literally
weeks.
have a body like the dogs I sleep with. It's hairy.
Yeah.
It's smelly. It's free. It's floppy. Do you know, when I got Autumn, because she was a breeding bitch, she's got such a flabby belly. And Sissy, who wasn't a breeding bitch but just is a whole lot of woman,
Yeah.
I realised the 3 of us have the same saggy, soft bellies. And, it's really funny when you have... when you look at the way dogs look at you,
Yeah.
they see you shit, they see you do
Yeah.
anything, they see you do...
And they love you.
They do not care. No. When you look at them through through their eyes, it makes... And I touch their bellies and I go, I've got that belly and I love you so much. How can I possibly hate mine?
Yeah. It's true.
And you know what else I really wish I'd had a child because I remember my mum, she was a fat woman and I just thought she was so beautiful and not because of anything, but because she was my mum.
Yeah.
But that was everything about her was beautiful.
Yeah.
So that to touch that, it was beautiful. And I have a friend, well, you know April, the Bodzilla. Mm-hmm. I met her and her son, and the way he adores her, like just thinks she's so beautiful. And that is what it's all, you know.
Yeah, Luca thinks I'm so beautiful.
So beautiful.
Although he keeps telling me my boobs are very big at the moment.
Yes. And they are.
Yeah.
It's the truth. It's just stating a fact.
Real love, I think, with my husband has been because I'm growing hairs in places I've never realised I could grow hairs. Talk about years of laser and thousands of dollars just gone out the window.
I know.
Pregnancy hormones. So I need him because I can't see what I'm doing to kind of get the ones around just from behind because I can't see. So he was doing that the other day and he said, are you okay? I think there's something, I think you might need to go and have a look in the mirror. And I said, what's wrong? He said, there's just something protruding. And
from your bum?
No, it was from my vagina. And I said, oh, God, okay. And I looked in the mirror and my bladder was coming out.
Your bladder was prolapsing?
It was prolapsing, yes.
Oh, my God. So this is another this is why you started the physio?
Yes, it was.
So this is another thing that, you know,
nobody
talks about.
Nobody talks about.
And it's a really common thing. So you didn't know.
No.
Your husband had to see it.
Yeah.
So then you saw it and was like, what the
It's not okay.
No.
And I'm only halfway pregnant.
And why did that happen?
Because I pushed too hard when I was constipated.
Yeah.
So no one told me
No.
not to push too hard either.
Yep. No, that's true.
And I've done all this damage, which I'm now repairing.
Oh, my God. Well, I got hemorrhoids and pushed too hard, got hemorrhoids that way. Forever, people have found that they're using hemorrhoid cream at beauty pageants for their eyes because what it does is it shrinks your skin, like it reduces inflammation pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right. So if you've got baggy under eyes, you pop it on and your eyes I can put it on my eyelids, my puffy eyelids.
Really?
And my eyelids will go away.
Wow.
Yeah. It lasts a couple of hours. So when the doctor said, put that on your bum, I was like, oh, my parents have that in their bathroom drawer. So I've said to my mum and dad, whoa, which one of you has hemorrhoids? They've both gone, not me. What? And I'm like, well, why do you have Protosect, whatever it's called, in the, I don't know, it's not mine. It's not mine. And they both denied it.
Oh.
See, this is another thing we don't talk about.
No.
It's like, it's not embarrassing.
No, it's part of life.
So many people have them. But I learnt then and there, don't push.
I know.
So you've gone one step further.
I wish someone had told me. I'm so annoyed with myself because it's my own fault. I did it to myself.
No, but no.
Yeah, but
You did
there
it
was
to
no
yourself
education about
accidentally.
it. Yeah.
So, there's no education. And that's what this podcast is so great for.
Yes.
There is at least one person listening to this going, I didn't know that. This is really important information.
Yes.
Thank you.
I also use nipple cream for my lips. Really good for cracked lips.
Is that like the sorbeline? No, the lanolin kind of thing?
That's the one.
Yep. No, and the bepanthen.
Yes.
Bepanthen is so good.
Bepanthen's
Do you know what else?
everything.
Do you want to know? Talk about useless facts. These are useful facts.
These are very useful.
Do you know, I've just learnt and started really looking into, this is really, because this goes against everything we were taught as children. You know when you hurt yourself and you get a scab and you want to let it dry out and, it, you know, blah, 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 blah. Everything's changed. It's complete opposite now. Studies have shown that if you keep it covered and moist, it will recover so much better. What happens? So the way I've been watching, I get all my medical information from medical doctors on TikTok. Because it's good, no more than 10 minutes, and it's interesting, and it's all backed by science. So they're like the latest. And I also learnt it, and this is what got me into it, because my dad had a skin graft last year from
the burns,
and he kept pulling the bandage off, saying, you got to let it dry. You got to let it dry out and then it will heal better. And the nurse kept saying to him, keep it covered and keep the ointment on it. And he just refused. As soon as she was gone, it's off. So I'm like, whatever, what is this? What is this? Like, because I remember as a child, like always scraping my knees. And as soon as the bandage could come off, the better. And that's why, you know, you'd pick your scabs and everything. Yeah. Well, your scabs are there like a bandage with ointment. That's what the ointment and bandage is doing. So never pull a scab off. Let it fall off by itself, no matter how ugly it looks.
I can't help myself.
I know. But you've got to think of it like a piece of earth, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, this is what I got told. So you know a terrarium? Do you know what a terrarium
I think
is?
so.
Okay, so a terrarium is a big glass
with the
thing,
things in
and you keep the lid on, and the entire terrarium, you don't need to water it. You can water it the first time you get it, and then it's self-watering because it's its own ecosystem. And what happens when you leave the lid on, the gases and airs, and we're like, I'm getting all of this wrong, but they work in themselves like a planet. Okay, so
you sound so scientific.
I know, and I'm just paraphrasing, okay? So what it does is it grows itself, and it grows really, really well. So what happens with a scab is if you leave that, it's its own ecosystem and it's doing all the work under the scab. If you take the scab off, cover it with a Bepanthen or a Vaseline or something moist with oil in it and cover it and keep it covered, and it's going to do the exact same thing. Either way, you take the scab off and it's going to heal, but you're going to heal with a scar. It's just like, say you look at the earth, say you watch a tree grow out of a terrarium. You're out in the open, it's out in the dry.
Yeah.
It will keep growing, but it will get really crispy and there's nothing moist about it. Like you look at, in summertime, everything falls off, it goes dry and crunchy leaves. Our bark, that's what bark is, like a scab.
I think you've missed your calling.
I have. I'm Dr. Carl. I'm Mrs. Carl.
Who are you, a botanist? Is that
a botanist? I love that. What did you call me, a botanist? Someone that has a baton and passes it on to someone else that doesn't know how to pronounce botanist. Here's my botanist for you. So it's just like that.
Wow.
So if you keep it covered the entire time, it will still heal, but it will heal without a scar.
But scars are the best.
Aren't they?
I love a good scar.
I love men with scars. I love acne scars. I have a thing for men with... Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Eyebrow scars. Yeah, on men.
What like? Like they've had a punch or a...
No, like they've had a piercing, they've taken it out.
Yeah. I hate those scars.
I like those.
Wow. We are never going to go after the same man.
person. Yeah,
and
true.
That's always a good thing. I don't think they'd go after us.
No. We've never been interested in the same guy.
You know, I've never been interested in the same guy with any of my friends.
Yeah, neither have I.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Thank God. Because I would probably cut a bitch for... No, I wouldn't. I would always let them have him.
Well, that's right. If
Although
they haven't picked you, then...
You remember Annie Potatoes? We used to go out. When we were going out, when I was going out, she still goes out. She's a rapscallion like that. I'm just old. When we used to go out...
Would you go for the same people?
No, but she would eye off the whole room, and whoever she liked, if she saw me looking at him, she'd go, I'm looking at him already.
No.
She would put dibs on a complete stranger
you can't do
that we hadn't even talked to yet.
No.
And I would go, all right, have him, because he won't want me anyway. Men don't like fat chicks.
Bullshit.
Majority of them don't. Or if they do, they're lying.
Yeah, that's rubbish.
Now, I had a heap of questions, which I think I got through all of them just naturally. I didn't have to look down at any of them.
Well done.
I think that's it. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I want to have you back again.
Yeah, I
in
could
the future.
sit here for all day.
I could have you
chat to you.
and we could just talk. Oh, my God. So good. But thank you so much for coming on.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
We didn't talk too much about the Gogglebox stuff, so I apologise to our listeners, but I think we gave them a heap of really good stuff.
Well, just quickly, tell me one of the funniest behind-the-scenes moment that you remember from your Gogglebox days.
We used to... I don't know if you'll even find this funny, but I did. We had this one cameraman, and he was hot. I'm not going to say his name, but it pretty quickly we could tell that the rest of the crew didn't like him. Like, he was really up himself. He'd just grab out guitar and start playing it, and you know what I don't know what they are like in your house, but they made themselves very comfortable in our house. Do they do that with you? They would, yeah. So one day he put on the light, because that's the other thing about Gogglebox. I don't know if everyone knows now that we are fully lit, we are mic'd, and we have 2 cameras on us. So one question every one of us get is, do you ever forget you're on camera? It's like, well, no, because I have a bra on first. I can't lie down. And there's bright lights in my eyes. The light, he decided to turn it around so it had a better reflection. But it went straight into the air conditioner and it made the sensor go. So it broke it. And the next day he came in and everyone had to tell him that he had broken and it was so hot and he was so mortified that I think the people in the production said, this is probably going to come out of you really shouldn't have done that, put such a hot light next to such a big appliance and, blah, blah, blah. And it was all a joke. It was fine. It was completely fine.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Is that a funny story? The other one was that every time I said Gogglebox, I would fart at the same time because I knew we were never allowed to say the word Gogglebox on TV and I knew then they would never show me farting. Then I became the farting queen. I don't know why. Have you got one?
Yeah, Emmy used to need to use the bathroom a lot. And so they would, we'd all still be mic'd. And I'm sure, I hope they turn off the mics when we are in the bathroom. But she did the whole farting as you walk. She was like, oh, I'm sorry, one. And oh my God, it was just hilarious.
Oh, bless.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when you're older. You walk and fart all the time.
Now Mum's doing it. And I'm sure, Well, yeah,
you'll be doing it in a couple of months.
Yep.
Pushing down. So you're having a baby in December.
Yep.
You're having a girl.
Yep.
And you're going to call her Yvie.
I really like that name.
Such a good name. It's a very popular name now.
I'm
very
so
popular.
annoyed you've got it and that we're friends.
You can, hey, you wouldn't be the first.
But everyone will think of you.
Yeah. Is that a bad thing?
Yes. I wanted to have our own identity.
There are so many amazing old-fashioned names. What's Emmy's name?
Emily.
That's a beautiful name.
Yeah.
Kerry's not a beautiful name.
Kerry's awful.
Isabelle is a beautiful name.
I was talking about the names. If Kerry could have her choice, she would not be Kerry. I can tell you that right now.
She's not a Kerry. She doesn't look like a Kerry. She's way too classy to be a Kerry. Kerry is a kind of old Scottish, someone who's on a farm in the Highlands, Kerry. Oh,
Kerry.
She's angry, that Kerry.
That Kitty.
I'm just in Ireland, in a Scottish Highlands. We could talk forever. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I love you very, very much.
I love you too.
And you are just one of my favourite people in the whole world.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, everyone. I know you've enjoyed this, so I don't even have to say I hope you did. If you want to hear Is come back again, let us know because we can have repeat offenders on this show. If you loved the episode, rate 5 stars only, review, really nice words, and always subscribe because it really does build our ratings and it means that we get seen by so many more people. If you love us, share us. I love you. I will be in your ear holes next week with someone else very special. Not as special as Isabelle, but special only because I don't know them that well, but still really special. I'm absolutely loving this chair filling. Like, it's so nice to have. Oh, I love it. You're all filling my soul. Talk to you all next week. Love you. Bye.
Bye.